Hello, hello. This is the 205th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2225, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. And again, we're not alone in the room, Simon.
No, that's correct. We've got, well, there's something else in the room with us.
Yes.
Not a guest as such.
Nope.
But a little small floating orb.
It's a Nano Sphere.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And we're quite proud of it.
Mm-hmm. That we managed to, we managed to keep it here for the episode.
Yes, exactly.
For the recording.
Initially, we were going to talk about something else, which we will now talk about some other time, because we noticed Nano Sphere in the room with us.
Yeah, it's over there in the corner right now.
Yep.
It seems to be staying there now. I think originally it was going to fly out the window, but we closed that.
Yep, and we closed the door, we closed everything. It's a very hermetically sealed room at the moment. But that's what we do for the podcast. So one thing that we definitely need to point out about the Nano Sphere is we know it's in the corner of the room, but not because we see it. Because we hear it.
Exactly. I mean, it's nano, yeah, it's in the title. It's very, very small. Basically, you can't see it with the naked eye.
Yeah.
But exactly, we can hear the music coming from over there.
And it's exactly so. It must be getting picked up by the recording. So so it's relatively low in volume, but you can definitely hear it. And we dedicated the episode to it, but we don't know so much about nanospheres.
No, they're pretty mysterious in that way.
Yeah, and I thought maybe we can start by showing one particular thing. It's now in the corner. It's playing music.
Exactly. What will happen if you go over and approach it?
I am now going to approach the nanosphere.
For our listeners, Dirk's walking over that way and...
Yeah. That's what happens
on cue. Exactly. Basically, when you get too close to it, it stops.
And I'm coming back now.
And then it comes back.
It does that. It feels like it's kind of shy.
Right. It tends to, when you're out and about in the world, it doesn't happen that way. But when it's in an enclosed place, like here, and it can't get away, basically, that's when it stops. I think it makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't want to be found. Like, it wants you to hear the music. I'm saying it wants. We have no idea if it has volition or anything. But anyway, you get close, the music stops. You get away, the music starts again. Yeah. Maybe as a way so that it can't be found.
And it's also, because we are sitting next to each other on one side of the room, it kind of sticks to the other side of the room. But if we would basically go sit in the other corner...
Right, it would move on over here.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't get too close, but it doesn't get too far away either.
True.
So it's not that it always tries to be as far as possible from people.
Part of its purpose seems to be that people can hear the music.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite a peculiar thing. One thing, of course, they're quite common. They're not so common, but everybody knows them and has experience.
Has first-hand experience, but it's always because they're not so common. It's always a nice surprise when you hear one.
Exactly, and then sometimes you also you hear it coming, and it's always like a positive feeling, like seeing a squirrel or something like that.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is, when they come, it's always positive, but when they leave, it's not necessarily sad. Funny enough.
Sure.
So it's not like you're It always seems to pick like the right time to move.
Right. They seem pretty observant.
Yeah, exactly.
And empathetic.
And but it does very rarely happen that you briefly see something.
Yeah, right? especially in the rain. That's not here inside, of course. But when it's raining and you're outside, that's when you see like a brief shimmer. Yeah,
exactly. It's this shimmer that at least. Give it the name sphere, because of course if you can't
see the shape.
Exactly, if you can't see it, how would you know that it's a sphere? But
right.
But that kind of makes it even more mysterious. Where where does it come from? What is it even? What is its purpose?
There's one other thing. So when you're outside, you don't notice this, I think, ever. But because we're inside, and as we mentioned, we've got all the windows closed, the doors closed, there's the slightest smell coming from that corner, which is wherever it is.
True. What is that smell?
It's that word I can't quite pronounce, speculaas.
Yeah, okay.
Is that how you say it? So that kind of, so biscuits,
Yeah.
Really nice biscuits.
True.
It's got a hint of that smell to it.
Yeah, now that you mention it. That's true,
maybe
actually.
You think, hey, I just ate some earlier. No, I didn't eat some earlier. That smells purely from the Nano Sphere.
See, I didn't know that. I think I haven't experienced it indoor enough.
We got very lucky.
Yes.
Both just in the sense of being able to hear it and then also being able to...
lock it in.
Here. Yeah. For our listeners, don't worry. When we finish recording, we'll let it back out,
Totally.
Nano Spheres were harmed in the recording of this podcast and so on.
Yeah, exactly. It was all watched over by the Nano Sphere Association. But of course, we noticed it moving in, right? So we were preparing, and then the Nano Sphere was moving in. You could hear the music. We could hear it coming in through the window, and then we were, I would say, quite agile in saying like, "You get the door, I get the window."
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem to mind, although I can't really tell. It minds me getting closer, but so far I have...
But the music that is playing is continued throughout.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, is changing, seems to be somehow always appropriate to what we're talking about or what's going on.
True. So that's also what people are saying. It always seems to kind of adjust its music to the people that it's near. Or to the atmosphere.
Indeed. Yeah.
So if it's some sort of, tension sports, exciting sports match or so, that it's more upbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what could they be? Would you have any idea?
I mean, so I have come across many. One idea is that they're someone's art project. Someone made this for fun, at university or something, Hey, how about I have some atmospheric music going on? And that, because of the way they were built, using nanobots, and again, this is speculation because we don't actually know what they're built of. So let's say they were made of nanobots, they're self-replicating. And so, it started off as this small little thing, just in maybe one, I don't know, bar, school, whatever. But by now, they're all over the world.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that could actually be. And that's actually a very creative and I guess then successful project.
I mean, definitely successful in the sense of existing in many places.
Yeah.
Because no one's claimed that they did it. I don't know what their intention was. For example, if their intention was to make things not have music everywhere, okay, that's a strange.
Okay, then it was not successful. Yeah, fair enough. One thought I had, they haven't been around forever, right?
No.
I don't remember that when I was small. And I don't remember when they started to appear, but of course, since about a little over 25 years, we've had alien contacts. There's been intergalactic travel.
So it could have been an alien university students project that came along on one of their ships and then got here too.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. So
Or it could be alien life.
Yes, that was actually where I was. What I was getting at. But I like your idea better. But either way, that it came from some other planet.
Right.
We haven't been traveling ourselves back and forth so much, but of course we've had quite a few of our alien guests, and maybe this just snuck onto their ships. If it's a nanosphere, super tiny, if it's quiet, you don't even know that it's there.
Right.
And maybe they live on, let's say, the Martian planet.
Maybe the Martians just don't notice it.
Exactly, or
it's always been there.
Or they've only started making music here.
Right.
Maybe they weren't making music over there. Maybe that's just something that they automatically kind of pick up in your atmosphere.
And I mentioned empathy earlier in the sense that they seem to play the appropriate music for what's going on. If they are aliens, or so if they're alive rather than simply devices, if they have a goal, what would their goal be? Are they playing the music simply to be nice? Is there some other motivation?
Maybe just they're absorbing the
vibes.
The vibes, yeah. Maybe they're like a vibe absorber. And maybe on the Martian planet, they absorb vibes differently. You know, maybe it's using the same technology, but here on Earth, this is then reflected through music. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is really some serious speculating, but yeah. Could also, of course, be robots.
Could be robots. I mentioned the idea of it being a university student's project. So sure, nanobots, those are super tiny robots.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean. Rather than a university student's thing, it could be robots that develop themselves.
Yeah, true. Or maybe it wasn't a university project, but also some sort of company experiment or...
Sure. I mean, the result is that there's way more music going on.
True.
You know, they're just going about your daily life. It's almost like there's a soundtrack, not all the time, like we say, you know, it's not like these are always around, but when they're around, it's really good when it's like something momentous. Maybe you had a really good day and you're really happy, and then you get this really upbeat music, it's really nice. Or the inverse, you know, you've had some really bad news, and then somehow it adds to the sadness, and you get this really melancholy music.
Or
heightens things.
True. But or maybe if they're absorbing, feel like maybe also negative vibes and radiating positive vibes with their music, they may be kind of compensating this. I was thinking something else, but this is really vague, I have to admit. But of course, music is transmitted through the air.
Yeah.
Right? So even if there isn't a nanosphere here, the music is there. So maybe the nanosphere is really, for some reason, like really condensed music that is not equally distributed and broadcasted.
Like an echo compressed into a single point.
Exactly, something like that. Or when you have like a magnifying glass in the sunlight and you also concentrate these, maybe there's something causing music to be so concentrated in one place that you actually hear it out of thin air.
That would be really interesting. That would, of course, explain why you can't see them.
Yeah.
And why you maybe only can kind of see, maybe there's a hint of a shimmer of a sphere in the rain, but not because there's actually like somehow an invisible ball floating there, but rather because of how the sound waves are vibrating the water drops.
Exactly. So,
that's real cool.
But how that then actually...
Oh, sure, how did that happen, or why is it happening?
That's for other people to figure out.
I like that also because it means there's no... So at least when I was imagining it earlier, was these little small robot balls. Okay, where do they get their power from? They must have some kind of battery. What happens when they break? You know, do they just fall down and cause litter? It's not so nice. I like this idea that you just said because then it's sound. There is no battery. There is no like mechanical thing to break.
No case, no artificial intelligence.
Exactly, it's just pure concentrated sound floating through the sky.
Pure concentrated sound. Even sounds really good. Yeah, I would love to ask our little buddy over there, but I know what happens when I come closer.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to try again? But there's no need if you don't want to, because we know the music will stop. You'll come back toward the desk, and then the music will start again.
I wonder if I stay in the same place but turn my back to it. And then you're right.
Like walk backwards to it, you mean, or just?
Oh no, I walk to it and it stops playing, and I turn my back at it.
Because you're not looking at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel free to give
Shall we try?
Sure.
Okay, we have to make sure it stops playing.
And then, yep.
Okay.
Sure. Same distance as last time. Yep.
No.
I mean, it knows you're still there. Yeah.
Okay, no, that doesn't work. Okay, so it's...
I'm saying it knows this. It's really easy to like ascribe, consciousness to it. Could also just be as a proximity sensor. You know, you get... So I say proximity sensor. If it's pure concentrated sound, I have no idea what's going on. But assuming it's a little robot of some kind, proximity sensor, you get too close, it stops, you know.
So maybe I'm interfering with the concentration.
Yeah, right. If that sound wave is being beamed from somewhere and you're interrupting it when you get too close.
Exactly. So if it's really purely concentrated music, then this means this comes from all directions. And if I'm standing too close, I'm interfering with this concentration. So that's why it didn't work when I turned around.
Could be.
We're getting somewhere.
Maybe it's like
2 more
Twister.
minutes and we've solved it.
Yeah, you know, like Twister, the game? You know the game, yeah? So for our listeners, in case they don't, a mat on the floor with coloured circles. You spin a spinner, depending on that colour, you put your hand, for example, onto the green circle or whatever. Anyway, maybe there's some position you could get your body in if you're close to the nanosphere. Some bizarre configuration of limbs that would mean it doesn't interfere with it, and then you'd still be able to hear it. Although what would be the point? It would just be a bit louder. It's not like it would help you actually get close. I mean,
are you seriously thinking this, or are you just saying that so I could go over there and go stand in weird positions?
A little bit of both.
Okay, let's try.
Okay. We don't actually have a spinner, but I mean, you can just move yourself around. Yeah, we don't need to play Twister. Okay, there it stopped. Yeah,
it stopped. Okay, I'm now do.
Okay, I can describe. So, Dirk's standing on his right leg, left leg out behind, right arm in front, left arm behind. Almost like you're running. It looks pretty good. It looks like you're running.
Yeah. It's not.
I can't hear anything.
It's not playing anything, right?
No.
So.
Some other position. Okay, yeah. Left leg like a flamingo, folded up. Hands on his head. Is what Dirk's doing right now. And then, okay, he lost his balance.
I'm losing my balance. Okay, so I tried
two things, and I mean, maybe there is some combination of or some shape that someone could pull that would work.
Okay.
Dancing. I mean, not that you have to do it right now, but imagine someone was dancing to the music, and then depending if it's synchronized with the music, maybe that works out.
See, dancing would actually make sense. It would fit better
right with the music.
But I think at this point we'll have to hand it over to science. We gave them enough. Now they should just fill in the details.
Exactly. Our listeners in the past, they can exactly work out all the kinds of experiments, all the procedures and so on, and then when the nanospheres start showing up about 175 years in their future, they know what to do.
Exactly. That's a good idea. I would say this is a good moment to check a listener question that we got.
Yep. Here we go. Yep, we have one. I'll read it here. Oh, well, I'll read it. I can't really read Spanish, but I'll give it a go. So, Donny wrote, Buenos dias, señores. My name is Donny, and I live in Hong Kong. I recently found your show, and I think it's pretty funny. There are many episodes that I haven't listened to yet, so maybe you've mentioned it already somewhere. But can you tell us how Hong Kong is doing in the 21st century? Muchas gracias, Donny.
Yeah. Thanks, Donny, for writing the email. And if you haven't listened to all of the episodes yet, we understood there's a really cool getting started section.
Someone made a website for our podcast at testfromthefuture.com.
Yes.
And if you go to that website, there is a section called Getting Started. And what's meant to be there? Because I haven't actually...
apparently, it's a list of the most relevant episodes. Like if you listen to these 5 or 10 or whatever episodes, then
you have a really good overview of what's going on.
Exactly. And then if you then listen to episode 143 or whatever, then you will still kind of be able to follow it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the theory anyway. I don't know
which
So
check out the Getting Started section, Donny, but then also you can answer the question more directly. So sure, Hong Kong is still around. Because, I mean, maybe it wouldn't be, 200 years have passed, but no, it's still around.
Definitely there.
It's still a place. But it actually merged with Dominica and with Tonga after building the last tunnel.
Yes, the last tunnel. There was a massive project. A tunnel from Hong Kong to Dominica and Tonga.
Yeah, that's a big tunnel. And it was finished just before teleporters were invented, or at least became widely available.
And then... the tunnels kind of became obsolete, but the tunnel was finished. You could basically go from Hong Kong to Dominica and Tonga through the tunnel.
Yeah. And then, because of that tunnel linking them, it is one country now.
Yeah.
And then, they renamed them. I said Hong Kong's still around. It is as part of like this, what would you call it when 3 countries combine? Anyway, it is now called Donkey Konga.
Yeah. It's obviously a merger of Dominica, Hong Kong, and Tonga.
Exactly, makes sense.
Yeah, Donkey Konga. It's it's the I think not the biggest country in the world,
but it's got a big reach.
Yes, exactly. The country with the biggest reach. That sounds like a pretty good slogan. Donkey Konga. So don't worry, Donny. Donkey Konga.
Okie dokie. So people who've listened to Test from the Future, episode 205, please send us an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the number 205 in the subject, and ask us questions, let us know interesting things about the past, and we will greatly appreciate knowing that this episode successfully went back in time.
Yes, and for now, thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.